Hello, this is Sarah Box with Sarah's Storytime, and today, since it's it is St. Patrick's Day, I'm going to be talking about this interesting book that I found. It's called Your Celtic Path, A Seeker's Guide, Guidance, Teachings, Inspiration, a book written in OghamNua by Connor. And this book was written by, as it says, Connor, and on the back it has a bio about him. It says Con is a west of Ireland based Celtic Druid and founding member and senior Ard Druid with the Celtic Druid Temple. Con and his wife Niam started facilitating the full moon ceremony on the Hill of Tara in 2003 that still continues today. With over 30 years of experience in seeking, walking, and teaching many seekers with online and residential weekends to find their own path, Con has carefully crafted his first book to reach out, offering guidance to seekers worldwide. So this book, we have a synopsis on the back of the book as well. It says it's the first book ever written in OghamNua. Now, OghamNua is based on an old Irish or Celtic form of writing called Ogham. And according to this author and other people who have studied it, Ogham was created by a man from long ago whose name was OghamNua, and he wrote the original script of the language, and he was from something called the Tuatha De Danann from the Bronze Age of at least 4,000 years ago. The original Ogham script is lost to us, but the author says that the church, the Catholic Church, basically corrupted the Ogham that they found. And he talks about how the church and the Catholics and the Romans were basically imperialists who came over to Ireland and were sort of like colonials who took over the culture and perverted the original Celtic Path and the original Ogham script. And Ogham was created by someone named Ogma, and apparently the first message that was written in Ogham was written by this Ogma, and it was written to, so here's a quote about Ogham from something called the Book of Ballymote on the origins of Ogham. It says, the father of Ogham is Ogma, the mother of Ogham is the hand or knife of Ogma. The first Ogham was written by Ogma to warn Lug, son of Ethliu, thy wife will be 7 times carried away from thee into fairyland or into another country, unless birch guard her. And it says, what are the place, time, person, and cause of the invention of the Ogham? Not hard. In place, Hibernia Insula quam nos Scoti habitamus, the northern island that we Scots inhabit. In the time of Bress, son of Elatha, king of Ireland, it was invented. And it was also mentioned that a man well skilled in speech and in poetry, who I guess could have been a druid, he invented Ogham, and he said the cause of its invention as a proof of his ingenuity, and that this speech should belong to the learned apart, to the exclusion of rustics and herdsmen. So he basically wanted to create it as a way to distinguish between the learned and the rustics, and it was sort of a sacred secret script that not everybody could learn. But here's a picture in the front of the book of what it might have looked like, except OghamNua, which is what this book is primarily using, was something that the author created based on the original Ogham script. Apparently, Ogham was originally fashioned after the process of climbing a tree, and I assume it was often cut into sticks. And here you can see a picture of how it may have been originally carved into sticks. And they say that Ogham is written or read in the same way that you climb a tree, and you start at the root or the base, and then you go upwards, right hand and left hand, and then through the tree, around the tree, and up the tree. So there's a specific way that they said it was supposed to be read, and it had a strong connection to trees. And he even talks about one person who tried to interpret Ogham. He said that this particular guy really had it wrong, but this guy who tried to interpret it, his name was Graves. And let me look, it says Robert Graves, who died in 1985, believed that Ogham was originally used by people with a set of beliefs originating in the Middle East for their ceremonies. And Graves based his Ogham on a series of forgeries and fake histories, this is what the author said, relying as well on very bad translations of texts that were quite obviously counterfeit. He also conjured up proofs, quote, proofs, to endorse his own invented Ogham tree calendar, an equally fake Ogham tree zodiac, to fill his need for glory. So that's what the author said about this man, and he goes on to discredit the man. And so he talks about the history of Ogham and its, by the corruption by church people or Catholics who were called imperialists. And he made his own version, as I said, of Ogham called OghamNua. And he actually, as you can see here, he used a system of transliteration where he took each symbol and put a corresponding English letter to it so that you can make out what the OghamNua is saying. And there's different kinds of levels of formality. Like there are vowels that are considered higher vowels and sacred vowels. And practice by writing your own name using the script of OghamNua. And he gives, in the back of the book, there are some cutouts that you can use. Let me put it right side up. Cutouts that you can use to transliterate the writing of OghamNua. It's called a key code that he has. He said you can cut them out and use them as bookmarks, because most of the book, the first part of the book introduces the concept of OghamNua and Ogham, and the second half, as you can see, is all written in this script called OghamNua. And so it would be a real challenge to go through and transliterate all of these symbols. You can put the English letters of each symbol on each line, and he has it written horizontally, but originally it was also written vertically. But as you can see, in order to get the whole message that's written in this script. You're going to have to transliterate all of it, which would take a lot of work, but you would definitely learn a lot. So overall, this is an interesting book about this ancient Irish Celtic script, and the part that's written in the beginning where he explains about Ogham and OghamNua. The writing is not well edited, like the punctuation and spelling isn't exactly always right on, so he could have edited it better. But overall, it's an interesting book, and it can be used to help people who are more interested to learn about ancient Ireland and the Celtic tradition. And the author has a website for the Celtic Temple, Celtic Druid Temple, that you can learn more about all of this. And I'll put the website in the description below. So happy St. Patrick's Day, and if you're interested, you can look up this book online. It's called Your Celtic Path, A Seeker's Guide by Con Connor. You can learn about this ancient Irish script of Ogham, or his new revised version of OghamNua. Alright, happy St. Patrick's Day, and I'll talk to you next time.